Hi guys! You guys like my sweater? It's like the first Preggo thing I got, and I only started wearing it now because like you just now can barely tell. I feel like still not even that much, but tell that I'm pregnant with the sweater on. I feel like there you go. You can see the bottom of it. It's there, it's a bump. I feel like it's finally now not just like, oh, did she just eat a burrito? Like now it's like, okay, no, that's not a burrito bump, a baby bump. So I am going to be doing a Q&A, answering your questions about my first trimester and the first trimester in general. I asked you guys on Insta. The probably number one, there were a few questions that were asked a lot. So I would say one of them, the most frequently asked question was, did you have morning sickness? And if so, how did you deal with it while keeping your diet on track? I did have morning sickness, and it was primarily between weeks 5 to 7, maybe also week 8. It kind of started to go away in week 9, and I remember it was weeks like 5 to 7 because we were in Italy for Christmas. And it was the worst thing ever. I could not eat I ate it, but I didn't enjoy the pasta. I didn't actually ever get sick. I had food aversions. I think that's probably more accurate for me to say because I could not eat anything healthy. Eggs, no way. Like no protein, even veggies, really anything healthy. It just was not happening. And that probably, if I would have forced it, I think I would have actually thrown up because there were a few moments that I was like, I really need to get this out of my sight. Honestly, guys, I ate so much junk food in the first trimester and I loved it. And I wouldn't change it because it honestly was a matter of eat junk food or not eat at all. And obviously, like I needed to eat. I definitely gained some weight because of it, but that was the least of my worries at the time. I was really, really concerned about like the pregnancy continuing, and I didn't want to add any stress on myself about like needing to eat healthy. I knew, or I hoped, it was gonna be a very short-lived food aversion situation, and it was. I started being able to go back to eating my normal way, definitely in the second trimester. It was a little hard, to be honest, just because, not because of food aversions, but because I was like, I'm used to eating all this delicious junk food now, and like, dang it, I can't eat it anymore. So that was a little hard. The probably second most asked question was how I battled fatigue. And I was very fatigued in my first trimester, definitely up until like week 12, week 13. I was tired all the time. Like I was taking naps, which I've said a few times on my vlogs, like I'm not a napper. It was pretty rough. I had very little energy. Like I wasn't allowed to work out until I don't know if it was week 13 that I officially got cleared. I do also feel like that probably contributed to my fatigue because I am so used to working out all the time, and that gives me energy. So taking that away and then adding on top of the fact that I was pregnant, I was double fatigued. But as far as how I actually handled it, I just, didn't push myself if I didn't feel like I wanted to do something. More than anything, first trimester, you just have to really go easy on yourself with these things, whether it's about your eating and gaining a little bit of weight and just kind of tapping out and just like laying in bed, when you need. I think that's really important. Did you have any spotting and cramping? And did you have a constant fear of miscarriage or something going wrong? So I did have spotting. I would say that mine was probably categorized more as bleeding because, as you guys saw, I had a subchorionic hematoma. It caused me to bleed on 3 different occasions. Also, I want to say, so bleeding in pregnancy is, I don't want to say it's normal, but it happens, especially in IVF pregnancies, from what I'm told. I'm told that IVF pregnancies have a higher rate of a subchorionic hematoma happening, so just keep that in mind for any of you that are on that journey. And honestly, me knowing that ahead of time played such a big factor in me not panicking that very first appointment that you guys saw. You guys, it was like my period on like the heaviest day. Like it was a lot of blood. I literally saw it and my mind went, of course. Like, of course I would. This would not continue and I would have a miscarriage. Like I hate to say that, but you get to be a bit of a pessimist, you know, when you go through infertility. And I absolutely was a huge pessimist and very anxious and always worried that something would go wrong. So when I saw that blood, it was like, oh, here we go, you know? But then the logical side of my brain jumped into action, was like, wait a minute, it could be an SCH, and that is what it turned out to be. I had 2 more bleeding episodes, not as bad, but definitely like blood. Sorry, this might be TMI for some people, but both were when I was in Italy. So the day after we landed, and then on Christmas night, we were walking around the center and I felt some cramping, and I was like, oh, that I don't feel normal. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and sure enough. So thankfully it was just the SCH, but it absolutely put me in that mind space of every ultrasound, I would, like the 24 hours before, I would start preparing myself for the worst. How was the 2-week wait for you? Any tips on keeping calm? So for those of you that don't know what the 2-week wait is, it is the time from when you ovulate to when you hopefully don't get your period. So that's 2 weeks, a 2-week wait. And it's the same thing when you do IVF. It's from the day of your transfer. 2 weeks later is when you would be doing your beta, your blood draw to see if you are pregnant. I tried to keep myself as busy as possible. It just so happens that our 2-week wait was the timeline of like Black Friday and preparing for Black Friday as a company, which it's like by far our most busy and crazy and hectic time of the year. And that happened to be my 2-week wait. So it just so happens that I was super busy. Time really did fly by. I got my positive test 5 days after my transfer, so it kind of was almost like a 5-day wait, except I still needed that additional, 9 days to get to the point where we were doing the beta. I think it might have been 12 days in my case, I'm not sure, but to do the beta blood draw to confirm the pregnancy. But then after that, like, you're still concerned about, is it going to continue? Is everything going to be okay? When's the first ultrasound? So it really is the most like mind-boggling, like nerve-wracking time. I do not miss the first trimester, I will say that. I don't want to say just stay positive. Luca would try to tell me that and I'd be like, it doesn't work that way. But I think the best thing is just to keep yourself busy so that you don't let your mind kind of go down that deep dark hole. Sometimes it'll go there. Just try to minimize it, and yeah, keep yourself busy with other things. Did you have any funny cravings? So I would say I didn't have specific cravings that like lasted for, I don't know, weeks. There would be like little spurts where like I really wanted strawberry frozen popsicles, just like the fruit ones. I had those like every day for like, I would say maybe 2 weeks. Then bagels and cream cheese was another one, which like I'm still kind of having a bit here and there, just being sure it fits in my macros, which also brings me to a point. I was not tracking my macros in the first trimester. I am tracking my macros now, only because A, I am back to working out, and B, for me, tracking my macros is more about, I need to be sure I'm eating enough, because it's really easy for me to get wrapped up in work or editing or whatever, and 5 hours will pass by and I hadn't eaten anything. And when you get really, really hungry, like you're usually not going for the healthiest things. So I am tracking my macros to be just on track with my eating, to be on a routine that allows me to remember to eat and to be sure that I'm getting enough protein and just the right balance of food overall. So I think for some people, they look at tracking macros as like trying to like eat, like under a certain amount. For me, it's like I need to be sure that I'm eating enough. So how long did you try to conceive naturally before deciding to do IVF? So we started trying to conceive officially January 2018. We started fertility treatments pretty much January 2019. So we tried a year of conceiving just on our own. January and February 2019, we did 2 IUIs. We decided to take a break from all the fertility treatments and hormones and everything. And if we didn't conceive by early fall, we were gonna do IVF, which is what we did. And then the IVF process is like a 3-month cycle. So I got my positive test on December 2nd, the beta. And yeah, so pretty much 2 years total of our journey, which is crazy because I look back and I don't want to say it flew by. There were so many hard times, but it is interesting to look back and just be like, that was 2 years and here we are. And so yeah, How did you hide it from everyone, or did you tell everyone so it was okay? I told my family early. I think I was 3 weeks, 6 days, guys. Like, that is so early. The only reason why is because I was home for Thanksgiving. I just knew that was my only opportunity to tell them in person. Otherwise, I probably would have waited a little bit longer. And then we told Luca's family when I was in Italy at 7 weeks. And of course, like my closest friends, I told like in the same timeline. I would say we told a good amount of people. I would say by 8 weeks, the majority of anyone like really close to me knew. I obviously didn't announce it publicly until I think it was like 12, almost 13 weeks. It was hardest to hide it from you guys because I was also on bed rest, and like I was like wanting to still be able to motivate you guys and encourage you to work out and all that jazz. So I did have to fake going to the gym sometimes and say like, go to the gym guys, have a great workout. But I would just go and like walk on the treadmill for like 5 minutes and leave, because that was like all that I was really cleared to do. So I'm sorry, but I think you guys can understand. I couldn't go completely MIA because then you guys would be like, why isn't Anna working out right now? So I already even had some people being like, did you already do the transfer? We definitely did tell a good number of people. And this is actually, I think, an interesting conversation right now, because people always say like, oh, wait until you're in the safe zone of your pregnancy to tell people. But like, when is that safe zone? I know statistically, once you're out of the first trimester, it's safer. But like I've heard horrible things happening in the second trimester, in the third trimester. So I feel like there's no ever completely safe zone. I also am very much an open book, so that might be different for me. I had several of you DMing me saying, hey, I'm 14 weeks pregnant and I'm still not feeling comfortable enough to tell my family. That's a completely individual and personal decision. So I might deal with it a little bit differently, but that is what we did. And personally, I just felt like it lifted a bit of a weight off my shoulders. So let me know what you guys did. For those of you that have been pregnant before, when did you tell your family? What timeline did you feel like it was comfortable? Comment, let me know. Ooh, I love this question. Did your actual pregnancy feel the same or different than when you were symptom spotting, when you were TTC, trying to conceive? You guys, it was nothing like all the months that I was symptom spotting. I had way more symptoms all those months that I was symptom spotting. The month I was actually pregnant, I felt nothing. No cramps. Like when I was trying to conceive and symptom spotting, my boobs were always so sore in the months that I was trying to conceive. The month I was pregnant, nothing. Literally nothing. Not the slightest little rumble in my stomach, no sore boobs, like really no fatigue even in that first, because I found out after 5 days. But yeah, so that was a really interesting lesson. I even said to Luca, like, I'm pregnant and I feel nothing. So those almost 2 years of symptom spotting and driving myself crazy was really for nothing. So for those of you watching that might be in the same scenario, just consider the fact that symptom spotting really could just be driving you crazy for no good reason. So yeah. Did you have days or weeks when you didn't feel pregnant? No symptoms. So aside from the 2-week wait, there absolutely were weeks where I felt nothing. And it would go from like 2 weeks of feeling like, you know, something's going on, like kind of towards the end of my first trimester. And then all of a sudden there'd be a week where it was like nothing, just like I was completely normal, never pregnant. And I had even Googled several times, like no symptoms, like 12 weeks pregnant. And I did read that like it's normal, and that absolutely happened to me. So just another case of like, you have to really, really be easy on yourself. Don't overthink things. I know that is like almost impossible to do because I was in the same spot, but that is my experience. I definitely had weeks where I did not feel even the slightest bit pregnant. Do you feel the baby? So I do now because I am 25 weeks pregnant today, but during the first trimester, I did not feel her at all. I would say that I started to feel little rumblings at 14 weeks, but that's early. Like most women don't feel them until 18 to 20. And it also depends on your placenta, if you have an anterior placenta or a posterior placenta. I have a posterior placenta, So that means that I am more likely to feel kicks earlier on. If you have an anterior placenta, it normally will be closer to the 20-week mark. So that is something that's really important to mention. Those little rumbles I felt at 14 weeks, I didn't really know because this is my first time being pregnant, but I remember just being like, what was that? You know? And it got, I don't want to say more frequent, but just like consistent. Like once or twice a day, I would feel just a little something, and then it just got more frequent, and now I literally told Luca, we just went for a walk, and I was like, by the way, I woke up at 5 in the morning to go pee, because when you're pregnant, you live in the bathroom practically going pee. And I was like, she was having a party in there. Like she was going all around. So right now I'm feeling her a lot, but I'm in the second trimester. First trimester, I definitely did not feel a thing. This is a really good question. One of my FBG girls asked, how has your body image changed? Like insecurities vanished or suddenly appeared? I want to be completely honest and real with you guys. I don't have any body image issues. I love my belly. Like I want it to grow. I don't want to say to get as big as possible, but I want it to grow. I want a belly, okay? It's probably one of my favorite parts about the pregnancy. Am I concerned about stretch marks or loose skin? Yeah. Like, I think that, like, who would say no to that? I think it's understandable to be concerned about it. I did also get some questions about what I'm doing for stretch marks. There's no body image issues that I'm experiencing, but I am conscious of gaining weight because I want to minimize stretch marks or loose skin. But with that being said, for those of you asking what I'm doing for stretch marks, I think it's really important to say that stretch marks are primarily genetic. So if your mom, what they say is that if your mom had stretch marks, it is very likely that you will get them. If you got stretch marks like in puberty, like on your hips or on your breast or your stomach or wherever, it's likely that in pregnancy you're going to get them. Do lotions and oils help? I think that they don't hurt. If applying lotion and an oil can help a little bit with skin elasticity, like I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try it, but I'm not like so fearful of like, no, I don't want them, because I just think like, if they're gonna happen, they're gonna happen. And they're gonna happen because I'm growing a beautiful life inside of my body, and I think that that is worth it. What I am doing is I'm putting on lotion and an oil. But you guys, I've shared about this in my skincare video. I'm so bad with this stuff. Like my best friend likes to describe me as the highest low maintenance girl she knows, because I like girly things and stuff, but like I don't want to do any of it. And so I always forget. I'll do it every once in a while, and kind of the same thing with like my belly and the oil and the lotion. So I'm doing it here and there. I'm conscious of it, but I'm not like so desperately trying to avoid it. I'm not the type of person to like worry about things that I can't control. And I just so deeply feel that it is primarily genetics. But yeah, I don't know. Let's have this conversation again once I have the baby, because I know that could be a different story, so we'll see. Do you keep checking that you're still pregnant because you don't really feel pregnant yet? So being in the second trimester, I finally believe it. When I was in my first trimester, absolutely. I had to stop buying pregnancy tests to like prevent myself from taking more. I'll show you guys a picture of all the tests I took. They're still in the nightstand drawer, and Luca is always like, Anna, can you please get rid of these? My drawer smells like pee. And I'm like, okay, fine, but I want to like keep them. I don't want to throw them away. But I tested so much because I just like didn't really believe it, and I needed that test to reaffirm that I was actually pregnant. I did have to stop myself at one point because I just had to trust that everything would be okay and not give into all of those negative thoughts. So what vitamins did you take or do you still take? So I'm still taking my prenatal, which I take Smarty Pants Organics is the name. I take that because it does not have folic acid, it has folate. And folate is the natural version of folic acid. Folic acid is the synthetic version. And I have the MTHFR gene mutation, which means my body cannot process or synthesize folic acid, which is a bit of a problem. There's different like variations of the MTHFR gene mutation. I do have the least serious one, so my body can synthesize folic acid to a point, but it still might miss out on getting all the folic acid and getting it to baby. So prenatal, fish oil, and vitamin D. So those are the 3 things that I take every day. I do have a video where I go over all of the vitamins that I took while trying to conceive and for IVF as well. What workouts are safe while pregnant? Another one said, is it safe to train doing abs in my TTC journey? So really quick, training your abs during your TTC journey is okay, but training abs when you are pregnant is not. So I'm not doing any core workouts, any like crunches. I can do core work that's like a plank, but nothing that is actually crunching, because that puts you at risk for diastasis recti, which is where your abs separate when they're making room for the baby. No abs when you're pregnant, but working on your diaphragm breathing, connecting with and strengthening your pelvic floor is so important. I have a video on my Instagram that goes over diaphragm breathing and workouts that are safe while pregnant. So this is a great topic because I think there's a lot of misconceptions. Working out while pregnant is a safe thing to do as long as you have doctor's clearance, and they say not to do anything new. So nothing that is going to put your body through abnormal amount of stress or do things that it's not used to doing. So I am doing my Fit Body app workouts, and I'm doing either shred or tone right now because we're on a lockdown currently in the pandemic, so I can't go to the gym, and I'm doing them on beginner level because the beginner level workouts in my app are all low impact. So no jumping moves. So this is the other thing I was told to avoid in my workouts, is nothing jumping. And I think maybe like a little bit would be okay, but it's also just like, you never know, and it's not worth the risk. So I'm doing low impact strength training workouts through my Fit Body app, which is the tone workouts. Shred is more cardio. And they honestly, you guys, like working out, I feel like has saved me in so many ways. Like aside from being on this lockdown right now and saving me mentally, it has really helped relieve any pregnancy related aches or pains. And so I'm really grateful that I'm even able to work out. I know some women in their pregnancies are not, like my best friend was not able to because her baby was like sideways, transverse, I think is how they describe it. She also had placenta previa. So yeah, there absolutely are cases where you should not work out, so you need doctor's clearance. As long as you have that, then just don't do anything that's completely new or different or that you feel your body's not able to do, and just keep your workouts low impact. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I will have to say I'm having to modify some things here and there. Like I can't do regular squats anymore because my belly gets in the way, so I'm doing sumo variations. And other than that, it's been kind of business as usual with my workouts. Another really important thing is that I'm working out right now, not to like stay in shape or like, sure, maybe to minimize weight gain, just because the more weight you gain, the harder it is to lose afterwards. But I really am training from a strength and endurance standpoint to prepare for birth. So many of you girls have told me that you have done, like FBG or just working out in general in your most recent pregnancy, and that your birth was so much easier compared to the one where you weren't working out. So like I'm taking a cue from you girls of like, I want to work out to try to have the best birth experience possible. So fingers crossed. I know there are still things that can happen that are completely out of our control, and no amount of workouts is gonna change that, but still just trying to do the best I can, and that is about it. So I hope I answered your girls' most pressing questions about the first trimester. If there were any that you wanted to know that I didn't answer, just comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more videos like this. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you guys later. All right, here is one more belly shot. So some of you actually asked about how much weight I've gained, and I have gained about 18 pounds. And I'm 25 weeks, so I feel like that is a average amount. It's like not too much, but it's not like, oh, you need to cool it. So yeah, it's growing.